Hi, this is Shannon. This is Cycle 1, Week 9. I'm excited to share with you some ideas that you can use for tutoring and some things you can do at home to help your kids practice the memory work this week. If you are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 3 little ones, 5, 3, and 1, and I get to tutor the Abecedarians this year, which I love. They're the little ones, so the 4 through 6 years old, and they're just super fun, super cute. So I'm excited to share with you my ideas for doing that. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of my video. I have some fun activities that I have made that you can use at home to help your kids practice the memory work. For English, we are learning some more prepositions. So I have these notebooks I made for each kid in my class. I've shown these before. They're just preschool lined paper notebooks. I decorated each of them with the name of each kid in a biology design for the year. And so each week I've been writing the prepositions. Some of them I write out, some of them I leave blank for the kids to write, and some of them I do little dots for them to trace. So I love this because you can really customize this to the level of the kids in your class. So if they're a little bit higher level, a bit older, maybe they could write some of them themselves. If they're younger, then maybe you write all of them for them and let them trace or just, color on the page a little bit. So you can really customize for each individual kid, which is really cool. So today we are starting with outside and we are ending with since. So we've got outside, over, past, regarding, since. So I will give them a few minutes to write the rest of the prepositions, trace some of them. I'll walk around and help them. The other parents in the room will help them. And then we will start our song. Last week we ended with out, so like this. And this week we're starting with outside. So outside we kind of look, put our hand over our head and look outside like that. Then after outside we've got over, so we put one hand here and go over it. Over. Then we've got past, so we sweep our hands past each other, past. Then we have regarding, so we shake our finger like this. And then since, we look at our watch. So again, we have outside, over, past, regarding, since. All right, now I'm going to do the song from the beginning. So from week 2 through this week, week 9. So here we go. But by that 2 to 2, but by that 2 to 2, but by that 2 to 2, but by that 2 to 2. About, above, across, after, against, along, amid, among, around, at, atop, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, but by, concerning, down, during, except, for, from, in, inside, into, like, near, of, off, on, onto, out, outside, over, past, regarding, since. So that is the whole preposition song from week 2 through week 9. If you want to see the whole thing, I do have a video of all the motions, the entire song, and I do it really slowly, so hopefully it's easier to learn that way. I'll link it below in the description if you want to watch it. So after we learn this week's motions and we go through the whole song together, I'm going to tell the kids we're going to play a little game where we get to switch off and show one of the motions for one of the prepositions, but we don't say anything, we just show it, and the rest of the class is going to try to guess what it is. And it can be from this week or a prior week. You can do that however you want, but I like to give them the freedom of doing a previous one too if they want. So for example, they might show, oh, this one. Ooh, what's this? And then I'll have the other kids, who knows what that one is? Oh, that was outside. Cool. All right, let's do another one. What was this one? Ooh, in. Good job. So you can do that and it helps them just remember it, and it's a fun little game. Also, I collect these each week, so I give the kids a sticker to put on their notebook each week. So by the end of the year, they'll have a lot of stickers on it. And then I collect them each week, and at the end of the year, I will give them to each kid to take home. For timeline this week, I have my timeline cards that I put the letters that each event start with on the top of them. I like to do this because I have younger kids and a lot of them can't read yet, so it just helps them identify what they are. I will link below. I got these at the dollar store, but I'll link them below, and the timeline cards. So this week I'm going to have these out on the table, but before we touch these, I'm going to tell the kids that I want them to just watch me go over the timeline motions again. Now we'll have already done this in our community, but I want them to just watch me do it again, and they can try to join in with me if they can. So first we're going to do that, and then we're going to do a timeline train. So I'll first show you the motions, and then I'll explain to you what our timeline train will look like. All right, so for the motions, again, I'm going to stand up and just kind of try to sing this part of the timeline song and do the motions for them and encourage the kids to try them with me. So the first one is Byzantine Emperor Justinian. So we're going to make a B, Byzantine, and then an E like this, Emperor, and make my sash with that E. So Byzantine Emperor Justinian, so a J with that pinky. Benedict, so I'm going to make another B. And monasticism, it's like I'm putting a hood on. So Benedict and monasticism. And then Mohammed, I'm going to make an M, so put my thumb under those 3 fingers. Mohammed founds Islam. I'm going to like kneel with my fingers for Islam. So Mohammed founds Islam. Sanj in early Ghana and Africa. So I'm going to trade back and forth for that. Franks defeat, so I'm going to make an F and kind of flick it like that. Franks defeat the Muslims at the Battle of Tours. So my sign for battle is like this. And then Golden Age, so I'm going to go like this from down from my ear. Golden Age of Islam. Ooh. Vikings raid, so like I'm taking something, raid and trade. So one more time it goes, Byzantine Emperor Justinian, Benedict and monasticism, Mohammed founds Islam, Zanj in early Ghana and Africa, Franks defeat the Muslims at the Battle of Tours, Golden Age of Islam, ooh, Vikings raid and trade. So after I kind of sing it with them and let them try with me, then I'm just going to tell them that, okay, we're going to do a timeline train. And that means that we have to sing the timeline song and do whatever the leader does. So you can try to lead them in singing the song if you feel comfortable, or you could play it on a speaker, just, play the whole timeline song through, or just record from the beginning through this week, whatever you want to do. So first, you're the leader, so you get to choose what you do. So first, I would just start walking, and everybody has to follow you like a train. And then maybe I start skipping a little bit, and everybody has to try to mimic what you do. So everybody's trying to skip, and you're trying to either sing the timeline song as you do this, or you could just be listening to it, whatever you think works best. And then maybe I start hopping on one foot and everybody has to follow me. Or maybe I start flying like a bird and everybody has to mimic me. Then once you get through the events, or after a few minutes, if you're listening to the whole timeline song, you can stop and let somebody else lead. And maybe pick one of the older kids in your group that understands and tell them, okay, you got to pick things that other people can imitate you doing. Then you do that, and then somebody else gets to go. Again, you could try to sing the timeline song and encourage them to try to sing it as they do it. If you feel like that's too hard for your kids, just play it and they're hearing it, and that's great too. After we've done it a few times, I'll lead them back into the room, and I have these timeline cards on the table. I'll tell them each to choose one, and we will put them on the wall in the right order. So I'll say, okay, who has the first event? What was the first event? Byzantine Empire Justinian. Who has that? What does Byzantine start with? Oh, B. Okay, So I'll have that person go put it on the wall, and then we'll put the rest of them on the wall in order. I'll have 7 pieces of painter's tape up on the wall for them to do that. And then if you want and feel like you have time, you could have them practice the motions 1 or 2 more times just for this week's part of the song. So that is timeline. For geography this week, we are learning about China. So I have my trivium table map here. If you don't have these maps, you can always just print out this map from CC Connected. It's always in the Sandbox e-zine, and you can laminate them or put them in like page protector things, and then the kids can draw on them with dry erase marker. So lots of options. So we've got Mongolia in blue up here, Beijing, that purple dot. We have got the Yellow Sea, which is pink, and the Yellow River, which is orange, the Yangtze River, which is green. So I'm going to give my kids these little erasers. I have seen these at Target for a while. They're pretty cheap, and they have all kinds of different foods, and they're really fun. They kind of come apart. So be careful if you have really young kids because they turn into small pieces. But love using stuff like this to let them point to the places, and then I let them take them home. So it's just kind of fun. So I'm going to teach them a song to the tune of Down in My Heart, and it goes like this. China, Beijing, Mongolia, Yellow Sea, Yellow River, Yangtze River, China, Beijing, Mongolia, Yellow Sea, Yellow River, Yangtze River. And so we'll sing that a couple times. I'll have them try to point to the different places as we sing. And then I'll give them some dry erase markers, and they can just color in these locations. And I'll encourage them to, think about if they know anywhere else around these. And that is what we'll do for geography. For math this week, we are skip counting the 15s. I'm going to have the 15s all written up on my tutor board, and I'm going to have the kids give me a couple actions that we can start with that we're going to do if we say a certain number. So for example, touch our head, jump up. So I'm going to say, okay, so for whenever we say a 1, we're going to touch our head. Now that doesn't just mean say the number 1, it means anytime we see a number that has a 1 in it. So like 15 has a 1, 105 has a 1, etc. So on my tutor board, I'm going to circle in a certain color, so say circle in red every time there's a 1, and we're going to remember that when we see that circle, we're going to touch our head. Okay? Then I'm going to pick another color, say green, and I'm going to put a square around every time we see a 3. So every time there's a 3, we're going to jump up. So I'm going to put a square around the 3 and 30. I'm going to put a square around the 3 and 135. So anytime we see a 3, we have to jump up. So I'll be like, okay, do you remember what we do when we see the red circle? Put our hand on our head. Awesome. Okay, do you remember what we do when we see the green square? Jump up. That's right. So then we're going to skip count and try to do those 2 motions whenever we see those symbols. So you can go through it with them and let them try. And then after you go through it one time, then you can maybe add another motion. So ask for another volunteer to give you a motion, and maybe make a heart in yellow anytime you see the number 5, for example. Okay, what are we going to do when we see number 5? We're going to squat. Okay, so anytime we see a yellow heart, we're going to squat. Then you can try to do it again. You could have the kids try to do it against you and see who messes up first, something like that. So the 15s go to a song. It goes like this. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135, 150, 165, 180, 195, 210, 225. So you can add as many actions as you want and, make as many symbols around as many different numbers as you want. And it gets kind of crazy, but the kids love it and have a blast. So that's what we're going to do for math. For history this week, we are going to do some silly words. Again, I really like doing this with the kids because it is fun, they love it, and they hear the history sentence a lot, which is really good. So what I will do first is I will say the history sentence normally, or you can kind of sing it, and tell the kids to listen really carefully as you do this. So it goes like this. Around the 6th century BC, Lao Tzu founded Taoism, which emphasizes harmony with nature, and Confucius taught compassion and obedience. So then you can say, okay, now I'm going to put some silly words in there, and if you hear a silly word, raise your hand and tell me what the word should be. So first I'm going to start like this. Around the 10th century, 10th? No, it's not 10th. What should it be? 6th. So that might be a little tricky, but you can see if any of them notice. So then I'll say, all right, I'll try again. Around the 6th century AB. No, like, not AB, what should it be? BC. So those both might be a little bit trickier, which is kind of fun to see if anybody notices. So then every time I say a silly word, I go back to the beginning, so they're hearing the history sentence said or sung correctly a lot. So I'll go back. All right, around the 6th century BC, Lao Tzu founded Taoism. Taoism? No! What should it be? Oh, Taoism. So you get the idea. Every time I go back to the beginning, say it correctly until the next silly word. So the silly words I did again are 10th instead of 6th, AB instead of BC, Taoism instead of Taoism, happiness instead of harmony, bought instead of taught, and cookies instead of obedience. So that is history. For Latin this week, I am going to have the kids play musical chairs. So we are doing the 4th declension noun endings, and I'm going to set up the chairs. Since I have younger kids, I'm not going to take away a chair each time. You could play that way, but I just don't want anybody to get sad. So if I have, say, 8 kids, I'm going to set up 8 chairs in a circle. So the backs, facing each other in a circle. And I'm going to have them walk around the circle as we listen to the song and try to sing along. And then when the song stops, they all have to sit in the chair closest to them. Then I'm going to have them all look under their chair, and under one of the chairs is going to be a sticky note or something. You can put tape, whatever you want, under the chair. I'm just going to do a sticky note. And whoever has that sticky note under their chair, they get to be the leader the next time. So everybody follows them and we do it again. And then I hide the sticky note under another chair. I'll have them all cover their eyes while I do that. And so then they sit down again when the song stops, and I'll say, okay, everybody look under their chair again. And then somebody else will hopefully have the sticky note. If it's the same person, I'll be like, okay, we're going to, close your eyes. I'm going to put it under another chair or something. And then that person gets to be the leader. The age group I have, they really like to be the leader, so that's the way I'm going to do it. But if you feel like they would be fine with it, you can take away a chair each time, and that's a fun way to play it too. So the Latin this week goes like this. Us, ui, oo. Us, ui, oo. Us, ui, oo. Singular for declension. Us, ibis, ibis. Us, ibis, ibis. Us, ibis, ibis. Plural for declension. So you can have the song go through both of those as they're walking around the chairs, and then when the song stops, they have to sit down. So that is Latin this week. For science, we are going to sit in a circle on the floor, and I'm going to tell the kids we are going to learn a little song to help us remember what are the parts of a plant. So we've got leaves, stems, and roots, and I'll show them a picture on my tutor board of what each of those are. And so they'll be sitting in a circle, and I'll tell them I have this present that has some prizes inside, and we're going to play hot potato. So we're going to pass this present around without opening it as we sing our song, and I want everybody to try to sing it. And then when the song stops, who's ever holding the box gets to open it and take one of the prizes out. So these are just little things I have laying around the house that I don't want anymore. Like this little dinosaur. A lot of these are party favors. We got this little guy, some toy cars. So it's a great way to just clear some stuff out that you don't want, and then it's always exciting to get a little prize. So the song we're going to sing goes to Jesus Loves Me, and it goes like this. What are some parts of a plant? Leaves, stems, and roots. What are some parts of a plant? Leaves, stems, and roots. So we'll do that, and then when we stop, whoever's holding it gets to open it and pick one of the prizes inside. And of course, you let every kid get it and tell the kids everybody will get a chance. So that is science. For any of these two, you could use silly voices. I do this a lot. I made these popsicle sticks. I've shown these before where I wrote different silly voices on them. I'll link below a picture with all of them if you're curious. Like we've got pouty, excited, and I wrote a bunch more. I also have these silly voice cards like mouth open, hold your tongue, through your teeth. These are free from my blog. If you haven't gotten them already, you can get them and use them. They're great for tutoring. And then I also have these movement cards like tiptoe, walk backwards, gallop. They're also fun to use at home too for anything. You can do it for Latin, for science, for math. They're great. So just a way to add some fun to the memory work. And they're free on my blog if you want them. I'll link below how to get them. For review this week, we are going to play Simon Says. So how this is going to work is I'm going to tell all the kids to stand up so they can see me, and I'll remind them how to play. So if I say, Simon says, tap your head, then you must do it. If I just say, tap your head, then don't do it because Simon didn't say. They'll probably already know how to play, but you can remind them. So what I'm going to do is choose some things like, Simon says, hop on one foot. Simon says, tap your head. Stop tapping your head. Oh no, you shouldn't have done it because I didn't say Simon Says. So I'll do some like that, and then I'll throw in a review question every now and then. Then you can say, Simon says, who was one of the Greek and Roman gods? Or Simon says, what's the name of that really big sea that we've seen almost every week that starts with an M? Simon says, can anybody tell me about the Assyrian Empire? And you can just throw in any question you want. Some of them you can say Simon says, some of them not, and then just throw in some other things too, like hop on one foot, squats, stuff like that. So that is what we're going to do for review. As promised, I want to show you the activities I made that you can do at home with your kids to practice the memory work. So these are all free. They're on my blog. I'll link below in the description how to get them. First one is Latin bingo. I've showed this before. This has all the Latin noun endings from week 3 through week 12 with little pictures to help you remember how to say the noun endings. So that is there. And then preposition cards. I've showed these before too. I have a card for each preposition from week 2 through week 12 with a little picture and a sentence using the preposition. We like to play memory with these. You can play Go Fish. We've also just enjoyed putting them in the correct order as we sing the preposition song. So lots of things you can do with them. For history, I made this tic-tac-toe game where I have different images for each part of the history sentence and these cards. So somebody will draw a card, and then whatever card they have, they'll try to find the picture on their tic-tac-toe board. And one player will be X's, one player will be O's. So the first player, if they get this card, will mark an X on that spot. And then the next player will draw a card. They get that image, Confucius. Then they'll mark an O. And the goal is to just get 3 in a row like tic-tac-toe. But you'll keep drawing the cards and rotating. So that is history. And then for science, I made this image where we have the stem, leaves, and roots, and just some other parts of the plant too. And I made it a color by number, so your kids can do that. And then for geography, I have a China map here with the locations that we're learning. I also have a key, and we like to play a dice game where we roll a die, and then whatever number we roll, we try to remember what location that is. So that's geography. And then for math, I made these little turkeys with the 15s, and you can cut them out and laminate them if you want and hide them around the room, and then have your kid go on a hunt and try to find all of them, bring them back to the table and try to put them in the correct order. So I believe that is everything. So again, look at the description and I'll have the link where you can go and download all those for free. My family loves playing games and I love making them, and it's just fun to share them with you. So I hope you enjoy them. If you've been enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'm posting 2 videos per week about homeschooling, tutor ideas, and healthy living. And follow me on Instagram. I like to post things that we do in our homeschool throughout the week. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching.